welcome back to another episode of the Fresh Squeeze podcast. I'm your host today, Jeremy, here with Justin, and today we got a big episode, okay? We've got an amazing episode. We've got a spectacular episode.
What kind of episode is that?
This is the full deep dive in extensive Spider-Man episode.
Hey, let's talk about that. All right.
So, we figured this is a pretty timely episode because 1 week from this episode airing will be the release of the newest Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right.
Another one with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. So we figured while we wait for one of the most hyped up movies of the year, why don't we recap and talk about our Spider-Man thoughts?
On literally anything Spider-Man related.
If it's Spider-Man, it's probably getting covered this episode.
Right. So what are the main topics we're talking about today?
So first we're going to talk about obviously the movies, our rankings, our thoughts, maybe some hot takes about them.
Sure.
What do we think of each trilogy or, grouping of movies. We're going to talk about the games, the Spider-Man games, probably mostly just the Spider-Man PlayStation game because what other one would you talk about?
Definitely.
And then we're going to talk about some of the comics, some of the different comics, some of the characters. And then at the end we can talk about some new Spider-Man related news like Spider-Verse 2 and No Way Home predictions.
Okay.
So, fully stacked episode.
Really in here for some web slinging content.
Yeah.
Let's get it started. So, because, the past few weeks, we've been getting revved up for watching the new movie, doing some rewatches.
Yep, we've been doing rewatches.
In the past few weeks, watched some of the old ones.
Yeah.
So, I guess naturally we'll start with the OGs to talk about.
Talk about the Spider-Man, the Raimi trilogy.
Directed by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire.
Yes.
So we watched the first two of the originals.
Yeah, we didn't watch all three, but we just watched the first two.
So, we just want to express genuine thoughts.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Because we actually, obviously we had seen them before, but it had actually been several years since we had seen them.
Those are probably the ones that we hadn't seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, since they're the oldest.
Yeah. So we thought it was a good time to rewatch those, and there's a lot I remember, a lot I didn't remember. So I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. It's interesting to see, especially just Marvel movies in general. How they're almost nearly 20 years old now.
Yeah.
At least the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be 20 next year.
Yeah, I think so.
2002, I believe it came out.
Okay.
I was honest. We were alive, but it's still kind of before our time.
I mean, I was 2 years old, so
I was 4 or 5. So, but yeah, it's interesting to see how classic Marvel movies versus modern MCU is so different.
Oh yeah, and especially since that was even before any of the current MCU. There wasn't really an MCU when the first Spider-Man came out because it was just that. There wasn't a phase 4, phase 1. It was just
hey, let's make this movie based off of Marvel character.
This is a Spider-Man movie made by Marvel, the people who make it, and then that was it,
Yeah.
So it was kind of it wasn't the first. It was kind of, I would say it was kind of the first of its kind. I would say.
Yeah, I think around that time all they really had was the first few X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And then
because Hulk didn't come out for a few more years, I don't think. So.
But that.
Well, the new Hulk. Not the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, but
no, yeah. Yeah, they had not the current Hulk, but the one before that,
the Incredible Hulk and stuff like that. But
anyway. then again, Marvel movies were far and few between back then.
Yeah.
So this was kind of a big deal for people back then.
It was.
So, obviously for fans of these original movies or just fans of Spider-Man in general, these are usually held to a pretty high bar.
Yeah, he was the first. Tobey Maguire was the first person to play Spider-Man. Most people see him as the definitive Spider-Man actor.
Yeah. Sometimes things get set on a pedestal, and maybe over time, maybe things just get praised just because either it was the first of its kind or it was nostalgia. It was a great interpretation, but maybe now it may seem
just a little dated. Like
little
maybe it
dated.
may have been a better adaptation for its time, but obviously as times change.
So I think what I have to say about the first two movies is, for their time, they're really, really great.
Yeah, for early 2000s, they were amazing movies.
Watching them nearly 20 years later, I do see the dated value of them.
Oh, definitely.
I
know,
especially in the first one.
We kept laughing at some of the corny like shots in the movie, and like some of
those pans,
some
and
of the
zooms.
like the suit, like wouldn't they like zoom in on like his mouth like a lot when he was like screaming?
Yeah,
or, like so,
or like
the quick turns, and,
the spins. And, you know,
yeah. And at one point it had that like total like movie maker transition.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah. So I mean, back then this was top notch filmmaking.
Yeah.
But nowadays, a little bit, dated in just its editing format.
Yeah.
You know, the effects actually held up quite well,
Yeah,
especially for Doc Ock.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even though some of that was practical,
Yeah.
which is honestly amazing.
Oh, that's why that's why it's so good.
But when they do action sequences and like their CG, it still looks really great.
They still look
actually.
very good. Yeah.
But all in all, I feel like, when you watch the movie, I can appreciate its nostalgic value, but there is, especially in some of the dialogue scenes, there's kind of some
cringy moments.
There's kind of some corny dialogue,
Yeah.
some cringy acting.
And I mean, you can't blame it all on the actor. Some of it, it was definitely in the in the writing. Some of the likes of the dialogue was cringy. I feel like mostly from Peter Parker.
Sometimes Tobey's faces were a little bit much to handle.
Yeah, and it's like, I know, like Spider-Man is supposed to be, kind of still a nerdy, not
kind of awkward,
not super social guy.
But sometimes you're just like,
but
oh man,
I almost think they took it to a little bit of
a little
extreme.
far.
There was just too many moments with him and Mary Jane when they were talking, and as we joked about every time, where he would just like look at her and just stare.
Yeah.
Just nothing. And it's just like, it was almost like secondhand embarrassment.
For sure.
Like,
you're almost kind of like, is that the way that he was directed? Is that the way he wanted to interpret the character, or did it just come out that way?
Yeah.
Like,
so I feel like, at least in terms of those dialogue issues, I feel like that's multiple things. I don't think it's one person's fault,
No, yeah. Like we said, probably wouldn't bat an eye at it when it first came out, but when you look at modern comic book movies or just films in general, some of the elements are pretty corny.
Yeah, definitely. So,
but all in all, classic portrayal of the character.
Classic.
Green Goblin, of course, was corny at times, but he was genuinely intimidating sometimes.
Yeah. Also, Willem Dafoe was such an amazing
couldn't
pick
do
for
it
that.
any
You
no,
couldn't do it
no
any
one
better.
could do it better.
Also, okay, I don't care what anybody says. I think that James Franco was a good Harry paired up with Willem Dafoe. Okay.
Yeah,
I think they're a great father-son duo.
That's probably the definitive Osborn family.
Obviously, we
right
don't
there.
talk about the Amazing Spider-Man Harry because what the heck was that?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But okay.
No, pro James Franco.
I am
Harry.
pro James Franco Harry. I've heard some slander and I'm not for it. Okay.
And even though Harry's supposed to be Peter's friend, and I honestly don't really know what Harry's like in the comics, but
yeah,
I kind of like their interpretation. He's a little preppy, a little jerky.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I think of Harry, that's what I think of. I mean,
he comes from a wealthy family.
His dad's one of the richest people in New York City. So, of course, even though he's Peter's friend and they're nice to each other, of course, he's going to be a little stuck up sometimes since he's just got that rich people mentality still,
Yeah, so I like his portrayal.
Yeah.
And then, MJ is MJ.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about some better ones.
We'll talk about the love interest.
The love interest in Spider-Man. Which one is your favorite, Justin, out of the three?
Oh, we're just jumping to out of three what?
The three movies.
Oh, out of the three original ones?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. even though we haven't watched the third one recently, that's definitely the least good one.
I'm gonna be honest. When we were going to rewatch them, the third one for me was the one I felt least inclined to rewatch.
That
By priority, at least.
The storyline, and obviously, is kind of bland for me, and cringe level is cranked top notch.
Very high on that one.
With all the Peter scenes.
There's so many memes that come out of that one.
I do appreciate that they were able to create closure for the story.
Yeah, definitely. And they brought out some more big villains.
Yeah. I don't know if they handled them correctly.
No, but definitely.
So I think even though some people overhype this movie too much, I do think Spider-Man 2 is great.
Yeah, no, okay. Not because we have the same opinion all the time, but I also think that Spider-Man 2 is my personal favorite and the one that I think is the best out of the original three.
It's definitely not one of my favorite comic book movies, or maybe not even my favorite Spider-Man movie.
No.
But the classic comical portrayals of the story is pretty high.
Yeah, I think it takes the best things about Tobey's Spider-Man from the first one. Obviously, the first one is the origin story, so you got to build up to him becoming full-fledged Spider-Man. So I think it takes the best parts of that one, plus a new, I think, very compelling villain.
Yeah.
Plus a cool one, and you mash it up, and I think
definitely the best Spider-Man villain they've ever done is Doc Ock.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe one of the best Marvel villains in general.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah,
so underrated.
And so that's the thing about the Raimi series is when it's good, it's really good, but when it's mediocre, it's honestly just okay.
Let's just say I feel like with Raimi series, the highs are very high, but the lows are low.
Or pretty low, yeah. Which it doesn't have a lot of lows.
No, but when it does, they're low.
Yeah. So yeah, the only other thing I guess I have to say about the series is, I love his costume.
Oh yeah, the original Spider-Man costume is great.
It's one of the best on-screen costumes.
It is definitely, yeah.
It's very classic looking. Mm-hmm. It looks great on screen. It looks very, as opposed to maybe ways that they're created nowadays, it looks very real and tactile.
Yeah.
And even though there's a lot of detail to it, it's almost like something that you could see him putting together.
Yeah.
With still a lot of cool style to it. So one of the best outfits.
Yeah.
There is.
I agree. Real quick, this just popped in my head, so now I have to say it. Hot take about the Raimi series, though. I think everybody can agree. Organic webs are disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, who in their right mind thought that was a good idea? I'm sorry. Web shooters will always be better than organic web.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care if in the story it's like, oh no, my web shooters are broken. Don't care. I would rather have broken web shooters than have this stuff coming out of my wrist.
Yeah.
That's just gross.
Yeah, even...
where does it come from?
I don't know why they thought having the web protrude out of his body was a great idea.
Yeah.
But web shooters are just way cooler and more normal.
It almost seems more practical.
It seems more practical. I'm not even sure if that's ever been a thing in the source material. But
yeah, let's just...
Yeah,
I wish I could forget.
That's very strange.
Organic webs.
But
it's just wrong.
But yeah, all in all, the series... I also appreciate how it really adapts the classic storyline.
Very much, yes.
And it does that greatly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking about... I feel like in that series, there's just so many, screaming moments.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of, Tobey screaming moments. But one that just popped in my head is in this... No, the first one. When Aunt May is, going to bed. And she's sitting by the bed, saying a prayer, and then Green Goblin busts in, and she's like, "Woo!" She's so funny. And she's like, "Save me, please!" Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
I can't help it. It's stuff like that. It makes it so funny.
It's meant to be terrifying, but it's just kind of funny.
It's not terrifying at all. It's so funny. She literally just gets bombed out, literally just grenaded. It's so funny.
But yeah, all in all, a solid series for the original movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess Do we have any other hot takes about this?
I don't think so. I feel like most of my other hot takes I can't say until we get to the other movies, because then I can do some comparisons.
I guess the only controversial opinion we had is that Spider-Man 2 is good, but not like
the best thing ever.
The best thing ever.
Yeah, it is the best one out of those
some
three.
People say. Yeah.
So no, it's not the best. I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie ever.
It has some of the best elements.
Some of the best elements for sure.
And so, I guess what do we got next?
Next up, we got the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. No, sorry. Duology. Oh, I just hurt myself again.
Okay. Directed by
Mark Webb.
The director Mark Webb, which I love his name.
Webb Spider-Man? It couldn't have worked out better.
Yeah. He was born for the role.
You're literally.
So yeah, Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man. We just watched that one most recently. I mean, I think it's a awesome movie.
I'm gonna put it up front right now. I have very strong positive opinions about these movies, especially the first one. Even
though this one's only coming up on 10 years old.
Yeah,
this was technically our childhood.
It was my childhood Spider-Man.
Specifically yours.
Even though, obviously, yes, I was already born by the time the originals came out, I wasn't old enough to get, attached and appreciative yet. So I literally remember, in my brain, okay, I remember seeing commercials for the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. I remember seeing the commercials. I remember buying and having the toys.
And you saw it in the theater?
And I remember going to the theater the night... I doubt it was the night it came out because we were younger. But still, I remember going to the theater, and I remember seeing it, and I remember it, afterwards, I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Obviously, I was 12 years old, but still, I loved it.
You gotta love a pure young mind.
Yeah. See,
just thinking, literally, this is the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Obviously, for 90s kids, Tobey was their childhood Spider-Man, but I was at that age where that was the perfect movie for me. So that was my childhood
You were the
Spider-Man.
target demographic.
I was literally the person they were trying to see that movie.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was great. So, and obviously now, obviously, I mean, there's things that, could be better, but but I'm still saying, when I was younger, obviously it was amazing, no pun intended. But
yeah, even now, watching it now, I think it's still a really cool movie.
A very good movie
still. I like the story. It's a bit of it's still an origin story, but with a little bit of some differences and a twist.
I will say, not counting a few shots, and especially the Tobey Spider-Man 2, but in the first Amazing Spider-Man is honestly just way more cinematically pleasing than the entire Raimi franchise. Yeah, I'm sorry, it is.
There's some shots
it's so nice.
Chef kiss.
Because it's newer, and there was, and it was a newer, way of cinema and movies. So obviously there's going to be newer ways that people shot movies then.
Yeah.
And yeah, especially in the first one, there's just some amazing shots of him being Spider-Man.
So, obviously with effects and movie making, you could say it has a bit more of a high production value.
No, it definitely does.
the CG looks great, especially on Lizard.
Yeah.
Which I still think is a cool villain.
I do too. I don't think he's a bad villain. He's not. I obviously Doc Ock is still probably number one.
But they took an obscure villain and actually made him me worth it. So.
Yeah. So and it wasn't just a lizard. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't. Oh look, the lizard's attacking the city. No, this was the doctor that Peter and Gwen knew. So.
Yeah. So. Because I like the tie-in there with Peter and Gwen and with the relationship into him.
Yeah. Having that relationship is pivotal in the hero versus villain story.
Yeah, because I like how obviously Peter's dad worked with Kurt Connors, and then obviously they die. So then
I also think that they give Peter some very interesting backstory we've never seen.
Yeah,
before.
I was so glad they gave the parent backstory, and I almost totally forgot about that because obviously in the Raimi trilogy, they never even talk about the parents. It's just he's with Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
It's no, he starts young Peter, which I think is good, with his parents, and bad thing happens, parents die. Okay, now he's with Aunt and Uncle.
And this happens in the sequel, but I really think the opening sequence is awesome.
Yeah.
actually see it's. I mean, it's pretty heartbreaking, but to see what happened to his parents.
Yeah, because
Like, their plane gets hijacked by, whoever was after them.
but then his dad pulls the hero move,
And
okay?
his dad just goes out like an absolute hero, basically saving the research from being being stolen.
And given to people with bad intentions,
And
you
so
know?
it all goes down with the plane.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that was really an exciting backstory.
Yeah, because I think about and it wasn't like it was some big. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But I'm pretty sure it was just like a private plane, which is why I think that's why he did that. Because I mean, obviously, like that would be still pretty terrible if like like hundreds of people still died. But I'm pretty sure it was just like them two
it was
on
a
a private
plane,
plane.
yeah.
But they got hijacked somehow or something.
So I thought that was interesting
So
backstory.
yeah, but I'm just glad they show that. But then back to the Kurt Connors thing. So obviously, he already had this connection with the Parker family, which obviously that was good. But then also Gwen having the internship there also had this good relationship between her and Kurt Connors, but then obviously her and Peter. So then later on and it's revealed that that she knows he's Spider-Man and Kurt Connors knows that he's Spider-Man, that they all three are kind of in it together,
Yeah.
So
Doc Ock and the Lizard are both similar in those interesting villain connections.
Yeah.
So.
But
yeah, let's kind of break it down even more here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Andrew Garfield. He's a phenomenal actor.
Okay, he's a great actor.
His performance as Peter was sold a lot more than I guess Tobey's more awkward.
Yeah, I mean, see, okay, I'm not making the decision yet, but I'm not saying as of right now that Andrew is better than Tobey, but there was many times when I did think that, because I think that Andrew's Peter Parker is kind of the best of both worlds, okay? Because not only is he like I almost feel like Tobey was almost too awkward at times, whereas Andrew Garfield, obviously
where you couldn't.
He's Peter Parker, so obviously it's just in the character's nature to be awkward. So there's times when he was talking to Gwen Stacy where he was a little flustered. He's a little awkward. It's his character.
But you can still relate to him.
But then there's also times where he's more relaxed, kind of playing it cool when he's with other characters. So he's not like awkward all the time as Tobey Maguire is. I feel like with every character.
With his performance, is probably the most nuanced, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll talk more on his portrayal, and then how we feeling about Gwen? Emma Stone as Gwen.
I'm telling it right now, this is solid as stone on the Fresh Squeeze podcast. We here believe that Gwen Stacy is the best. Well, Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy is the best Spider-Man love interest out of all the movies. Okay, Mary Jane, whack, mid. Okay, I obviously have nothing against Zendaya. Her version of I should say the Kirsten Dunst version. But obviously, I have nothing against Zendaya. Her version of MJ is fine. It's not my favorite. But Gwen Stacy is the best one. Okay,
she's just a lot more compelling character.
She's so much more of a compelling character.
She's more likable
than Mary Jane. Yes.
I mean, it's Emma Stone.
Obviously, but
yeah. So I think they're the best.
On-screen
they're the best
couple. Plus, they had the best chemistry in the movies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, minus the third one, I'm pretty sure. But like, in the Tobey trilogy, I mean, Mary Jane basically just hates him for like 3 movies straight, and it's like, you're still loving this girl even though she's like, I hate you. You didn't come to my play.
If we're being completely honest,
Tobey
could do better.
She was being pretty low to Peter. Okay,
she wasn't a great friend. No.
Meanwhile, Gwen over here, not only is she like studious and smart, okay, because she's at this Oscorp, but she is actually friendly and nice to Peter. They have a better on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
And Yeah, she's just better.
So I guess
Wait,
that's
and she has more tie-ins to the story.
yeah.
Okay, let's be real. I mean, even though
Because her family's involved.
yes, her
and-
dad's the police officer who gets killed. Spoiler, who gets killed. And
Okay, can we just say that the whole like storyline and the whole idea of Peter having to he's told not to involve Gwen by her father's dying wish.
oh my gosh,
Yet he has to face the consequences of her being part of his life, which
Yeah.
he ends up paying for in the second one.
yeah. Can we just we can go back to our deep dive in a sec, but can we just talk about how I know we said this before, how the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, both movies, those two movies are the darkest and saddest Spider-Man movies. Like there is, I mean, obviously, there is such a like really heavy and dark tone on this. Like Uncle Ben dies.
There's some heavy themes.
Like so many people
Yeah.
die. Like Uncle. Like I mean, obviously it starts off his parents die. Uncle Ben dies. At the end of the movie, Gwen Stacy's dad dies, and it's a super like heart-wrenching moment. Yeah, as you're talking about him talking with Gwen. The part where Gwen comes to the door and is asking Peter why he didn't come to her dad's funeral.
That was honestly
And-
a lot more heart-wrenching than when at the end of Tobey's Spider-Man 1
Yeah.
when he tells MJ that they can't be together.
Yeah. Oh, well, we all know her MJ was fake. Anyway, the scenes where Aunt May was she was all upset when he would come home every night all
everybody brought
beaten
their
up.
A game for this movie.
Literally, the acting was so on point for these movies, and yeah, like I said, although it was a really heavy tone for both these movies, I think that really made them great.
Yeah, what makes the story of these two movies most compelling is that Peter Parker and Spider-Man, he goes through a lot, and he has so much loss,
So much loss.
so much responsibility,
Yeah.
and so much that he ends up having to pay for. So
Yeah.
definitely a story that tells you that responsibility with consequence and those types of things.
Especially, I almost think because in Amazing Spider-Man 1, like when Uncle Ben dies, he's like right there. He's like across the street, which I feel like is so rough because like in Tobey, when he gets there, I mean Uncle Ben's he's like pretty much already dead by the time Peter gets there.
It's pretty much the same situation.
Oh, I know, but I just feel like in Amazing Spider-Man, like when he gets there, like it had like just happened because he only turned around because he heard the gunshot,
True, yeah.
So he gets there and it had like just happened, and he's crying over Uncle Ben,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's just really.
What I'll say about the Amazing Spider-Man, I'm not gonna say that the story portrayal is necessarily bounds better,
Yeah.
but it's so much more emotionally affecting.
Oh, so much more emotional,
Yeah.
and I like that.
So, moving on from the, I guess, deep points of the movie.
Yeah.
What how we feel about the suits?
Okay, so I think the suits are in a mix-match situation, okay? So I honestly, again, nostalgia, when me as a kid, I still love the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit. I think it's a cool new design, vibrant colors, I love obviously the red and the blue patches,
Yeah.
I remember
I like you said, the suit from the first one really emphasizes the darker themes.
yeah, plus
which I like.
I love that version of the Spider-Man symbol.
Really elongated.
It's long and
Yeah.
like sharp, you know what I mean? I just think
Yes,
it looks
yeah.
so cool.
It some people may say it's a little too edgy, a little too, not fun and bright.
But
or
tell me
whatever,
when
but
Peter puts that on for the first time and is like on top of that skyscraper, tell me it's not the coolest thing
he is
ever.
like, yeah, it's
Like,
really cool.
And now obviously
Oh, this movie
I-
also has the best web swinging sequences.
definitely, oh my, okay, that's what I'm saying. These two movies right here have the best web swinging out of any Spider-Man movie. He is truly a web head slinging dude in these movies, okay? Like literally, and the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, he's hurt. What are we gonna do? Oh yeah, bring the cranes over the streets. And what does he do? Boom!
Oh, yeah.
He swings from crane to crane. That is literally pure Spider-Man right there. That is Spider-Man straight to the core, right? Swinging through the city, like
Yep.
amazing.
So.
Okay, I'm
you
not
go.
even doing it on purpose at this point.
So
But,
I guess to
oh wait, I did want to say one thing about the suit. I know some people have issues with like the obviously the eyes of the suit.
the
Now,
eyes are weird.
The yellowish eyes are a little weird. I'm not really down for those. But
That's the only literally the only down point.
yeah, but I don't think that's enough to make the suit bad, which is why I said it's a mix and match, because I feel like the suit in the second movie, I feel like arguably is probably one of my favorites.
So yeah, let's talk about the second movie suit.
Yeah, you can go ahead and say your thoughts.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah, I know. Like it's most people probably say that they think the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is probably one of the best because it is. Yeah, I think it is brighter tones.
Oh yeah, the white
and then
white
those
lenses
big
again.
white eyes. I like 90% agree that it's the best one ever.
Oh, like come on, tell me that's not Spider-Man right there.
Okay, no, that's okay. That picture's pretty great,
dude. Tell me that is not my man right there.
I like both amazing suits. It's almost like if you could combine both of them together. But I think the second,
this one's good. This one's good because we're comparing them right now. But you know, like looking back at the other one, like this one,
okay, yeah,
I'm gonna refrain from using the word amazing, but it really is just great because I do think it takes the best parts. It almost has like that like puffy web print type style from the Tobey suits, but it keeps I'm telling you, it keeps the Amazing Spider-Man logo, the long logo, which I love. So
okay, yeah, I can get on board.
This is probably my favorite. No, this is my favorite Spider-Man suit out of the movies. I honestly think
on screen out of any of them.
I think so.
I can vibe with that.
Yeah, so good.
But barely edged out by the classic one though.
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to say one thing. This kind of ranges through both movies. But I do like how in The Amazing Spider-Man, I feel like Andrew's portrayal of Peter is and Spider-Man is, I like how he's a little bit more like charismatic, you know, a little bit more jokes here and there, you know. Or I feel like
it is the biggest difference between the Peter and Spidey.
Yeah, because like we said, although he's still awkward at times as his character, but he was also, you know, he was, you know, funny at times, like, you know, when he's the scene in the first one when he's in the backseat of the guy's car.
Yeah,
like that seems
that part's
funny.
gold.
Or I think it's in the second movie, he's making new web shooters and he's like trying all this stuff and he's like pulling stuff down and like smacking himself in the head. I think it's funny, you know. He's like you know.
Yeah, I think in a little bit we can say which actor is our favorite portrayal. Yeah. I'm gonna say that I think Andrew was one of the best Spider-Man portrayals, but he's not my favorite Peter.
I get that for sure.
Because obviously, since it was just so different.
Yeah, for sure.
But for the story, it worked.
Well, I guess we should probably talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2 since we haven't really talked about the movie itself yet.
Well, you know, we can. I feel like besides some story points, it's kind of the same.
Yeah,
idea.
I mean, well, you know, we have, you know, like you said, that one, the ending. Okay. I don't think I've been the same since 2014 when that movie came out. Okay.
Yeah, another comment on being a wholesome young viewer. When I'm gonna admit, when I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, I quite honestly thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, besides some very diluted story.
If you haven't
points,
seen it, we're gonna spoil the whole movie like right now. Okay?
Well, you know,
I'm just putting it out there. You know,
this is obviously a spoiler-filled episode.
But anyway, continue.
I think besides some very, like I said, very very weak story points, I think it also still has some of the, once again, strongest emotional points to it.
Yeah,
as well.
and
coolest points.
Yeah, we weren't able to rewatch The Amazing Spider-Man 2, probably before we see the newest movie, but I still want to sometime
because it's still. I mean, to movie quality, it's still one of the lesser ones.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But obviously, I'm going to say it. The ending with Gwen literally broke me and shattered me into pieces.
Like it did her neck.
Like, stop, Justin. I did not need that. Oh, jeez.
No, the portrayal of her death was
And it's so
masterfully
tense. Like, you literally think he's gonna make it, because all the other times, all the movies, they always make it.
He catches her, but it's too late.
Tobey
man.
with Mary Jane, she's falling. Boom, he catches her. I think Gwen. Was there a point where Gwen was falling in the first one and he caught her? No, I don't think so.
No.
But still, other people, they're falling, they catch it. In Tobey's movies, they fall, they catch. Or in this, she's falling. He's like, and when he's falling, it's like slow motion through like all the pieces he's trying to dodge.
It's literally
and then
fantastic.
The web shoot's coming out, and you're like, oh, he's got her. He grabs her. You're like, oh, it's good. No, dude. But then, she breaks her neck.
She gone.
So that was so tough.
So it is definitely, even though it's from the source material, it's still a little bit surprising that they followed through with it.
Yeah.
And it's once again a great portrayal of the hero actions with hero consequence.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically what happened. The first one, his dad was like, keep her out of this because she's gonna get hurt. And what happened? She didn't stay out of it. She died.
And
she paid for it.
It followed up on that line.
Yeah, which is so tough.
So yeah, even though all in all it's a pretty mediocre movie, scenes like that make up.
Really make it great.
It makes it worth watching again.
For sure, definitely.
Besides the weak story points and the pretty terrible character portrayals.
Yeah.
Like you said, Harry, Electro, Rhino, all pretty mid.
Well, Rhino was there for 2 minutes at the end.
But it was still horrendous.
Terrible. Harry looked like he looked like a Furby.
Oh my god.
Gremlin, don't feed him after midnight.
And Electro was okay.
Electro was okay.
He's looking a lot more cooler with his new
definitely better
yellow lightning look.
Yeah.
But all in all, even though we were going to move on to Holland, we still need to talk about at least a little bit briefly what could have been.
What could have been, Justin?
So even though Jeremy has strong feelings about this series, I also have some quite heartfelt and strong feelings to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
After we saw this, and at the end of the movie, they tease, what villains are gonna come next?
Yeah,
is it gonna be the Sinister Six?
I had hoped so.
I'm gonna go out and say this: if I could have any Spider-Man movie, it would be Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I 100% agree.
Because let me lay down what could have happened. There was some great setup in the second one that they didn't follow through on. Like, they introduced Felicia Hardy, who was Black Cat.
Yeah.
And she would have been awesome.
Yeah, and that would be her first ever portrayal.
She was in the movie.
Yeah.
She was at Oscorp, but they just didn't follow through on it. And they didn't do the third one. So yeah, in the third one,
because sorry not to cut you off, but I remember, I think it was honestly around that time. I remember I would read and
reading some comics. Yeah.
I would not rent, check out a bunch of comics from our library.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember. Actually, I think I might own it. I read one of the thicker books. I don't know what they call those, but and it was a series of the comics, and it was Spider-Man and Black Cat, and it was super good.
Yeah.
So
she's basically like Spider-Man's Catwoman.
Yeah.
So
which I think is just a great.
I think she would have been really cool. So
Yeah.
we would have had Peter, grieving and dealing with
absolutely
the death,
a broken man.
a broken man from not only his girlfriend getting killed, but breaking her father's promise.
Yeah.
The fact that New York got devastated, all these villains are coming for him, and so, yeah, I think they were definitely going towards a Sinister Six type thing.
Definitely, yeah.
So, there were so many other factors. I think it really would have quite possibly made up for the second one being mid.
I think it would have.
And I think it would have been a really cool movie.
Yeah, me too.
And it would have happened. I'm guessing they only canceled it because they got the offer for Spider-Man to join the MCU.
Yeah.
Because, that came out in 2014. Civil War came out in 2016.
That's true. Oh, it's tragic, but
only what could have been.
What could have been. Alternate timeline.
But, well, let's live in the now and talk about the new series.
Tom Holland Spider-Man.
So, come on, we like Tom Holland. Spider-Man.
Yeah, we do.
Don't we?
We do definitely.
I guess we'll just kind of talk about his movies as just kind of like a whole grouping, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, even though you can talk about them separately, obviously, I feel like there's just like
We'll just talk about them as one big
Yeah.
story here.
Yeah.
Especially since he's been in Avengers.
yeah.
Because technically, even though
He's been in what, like 5 movies now?
technically, even though he'll be completing a trilogy, he's been in 2 Avengers movies and Civil War. So this is what, like his 6th appearance.
Right. Actually, yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Just to get through the fluff, let's just the thing I feel most strongly about. Let's talk about Holland's Spider-Man suit.
Yes.
I think that the design is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like the way that they portray it.
No,
I'm gonna say I'm quite disappointed by Marvel and their editing team by choosing to, like, at least half the time
Just
make
do
the suit
CG.
CG.
It's like it's no fun. Like there's no
no
interesting value behind it. It's just
there's no personability
no,
to it.
no.
It just looks so bland.
Yeah.
Like I said, the design is fine, but the fact that it's CG makes it look so flat and
Yeah.
shiny. But when you watch the Tobey movies, it's so real looking.
There's so much like
There's
texture.
There's texture. There's tears.
Even in Andrew Garfield, yeah, his suit. You can see all the details in the suit,
Yeah.
and it's so real in all these scenes. And yeah, I just don't have that, and I miss that with Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Like so, like I just really have a distaste for the way that they handle this outfit.
Yeah, yeah.
The design of it is cool, but like there's probably only a few. He probably only wears a real outfit when it's like a completely non-action sequence.
Yeah, if he's just like talking.
Yeah, so which is pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and like I like his suit, but obviously, like I said, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is my favorite. But so I think it's a decent like mid-range Spider-Man suit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not super crazy. It's pretty standard. Nothing.
I like the red and black one from Far and From Home.
I do like that one. That one is very nice.
Yeah.
It's a good change. Yeah.
Anything else you feel about Homecoming or Far From Home?
Well, this isn't really movie specific, but I do like the addition of Ned as a character in these movies.
Yeah.
I feel like he's since there's no really Harry.
There's no Osborn presence.
There's no Osborn presence. I feel like Ned is a good replacement for the the Peter Parker best friend type thing.
Right.
And rather be somebody that's going to whether or not turn against him, stab him in the back, sometimes like Harry did. Ned's like his right hand man
He's
all the
always
time.
there
He's ready
for
to
him.
go at any moment.
Yeah.
And I love that. Plus, I feel like the actors that they have for Ned, he's great. So.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So all in all, with these movies, there's little criticisms that come to lots of fans being attached to these, but aren't even worth mentioning because they're just so minute. You can be like, oh, this is okay, this is mediocre, I don't like this, I don't like that. But all in all, these are really, the new Holland movies are really fun and to watch. And
I mean, they're really for everybody. Like
they're nice and lighthearted, not as deep as the Andrew movies.
Definitely not as not as sad. So
they're pretty,
which is good. So
they're pretty family friendly, uplifting adventure movies.
Yeah,
which I like.
I will say, okay, I mean, this is the Spider-Man episode, so there's going to be some hot takes, okay? I think we've had a hot take about at least both Spider-Man so far. I will say, the only thing I do not like about the Tom Holland series currently is, while there's a lot of things I feel like they do right, there's just so many, I feel like, basic Spider-Man things that they just miss with these movies.
Yeah.
One big thing is being like the big Spider-Man fights. Not when I say that, obviously his fight versus Vulture, his fight versus Mysterio.
Yeah, Vulture and Mysterio are really cool.
Were
villains.
great, but I'm saying like you miss like the core Spider-Man things. Like where's the web slinging? Like I feel like Peter doesn't. I mean, Tom Holland doesn't do that much like actual web slinging. Like, I mean, oh, I gotta go over here, I gotta go over there, oh, I gotta pull this thing, but like, both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, they were, avidly swinging through the city, whether it was, in combat, going somewhere,
Right.
just doing a cinematic shot of them swinging, and I feel like we're just really missing that with the Tom Holland series.
You know what? I hadn't really thought about that, but even though Holland's portrayal is very fun, very new age, I kind of miss, the classic portrayals.
Like, there's the core Spider-Man identity right there. You know what I mean?
When you think about it, I don't want to say that his portrayal is bland, because it's not.
But it's not all the time. But there are definitely times when it's lackluster. Okay.
Like, in a way that you're like, he's doing things that any other hero could do in that situation.
Yeah,
like,
actually, that's a good point, because there's times where it's like, yeah, he could do this, but like, yeah, like anybody could do this. Like, there's sometimes where it's like, oh, this is Spider-Man needs to do this. Well, this is just like, I mean, the Avengers could come do this.
But he still, he has. Well, actually, that's not very comparable.
But
I guess the biggest criticism is that, in these movies, Spider-Man can't do anything without the Avengers helping him.
I hate that, but at the same time, I have to agree with that.
It's
sometimes
not all the time,
but
sometimes
it's noticeable.
It's true.
It's very noticeable, though. Like
the fact that, it's kind of cool that Iron Man's his mentor.
I know, but everyone calls him, oh, it's Iron Man Jr., which at the same time is true, but it also isn't sometimes. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just.
Oh, the one thing that we said the other day between the two of us is that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is definitely has the most ingenuity and has the most
he is probably the most intelligent version of Peter Parker,
is the most
Spider-Man.
Self-sustaining.
Yeah,
definitely like most resourceful.
Like, obviously all three of them are portrayed as smart.
Yeah,
but I really think that Andrew Garfield's version was portrayed as an actual, like, he was actually smart and used his intelligence, to do when he was doing the equations for Kurt Connors, or when he was,
he's definitely the most smart.
Putting together his own Spider-Man, persona for himself,
He was the most book smart.
Yeah.
Tom is probably the most like I don't want to say street smart.
I would just like, I don't know, maybe with people. I don't know, but
he's the most personable person.
Maybe, yeah.
He gets along with people. He gets through tough situations.
Everyone seems to like him. So yeah.
Whereas Tobey's is just the good old boy.
Yeah, pretty much. So
there are definitely things that lack in the new series that just doesn't have genuine Spider-Man qualities to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's it. It gets diluted a little bit by the MCU formula.
Yeah, and I feel like the new like Disney / MCU formula, I feel like they are a little watered down at times.
Yeah, for sure.
Not all the time, but definitely there are times. But some things that I do really love about these movies is, like we mentioned just a little bit ago, is they took characters like Vulture and Mysterio and made them amazing.
Before Mysterio was just such a joke of a villain.
Clown. He's literally a dude in like a green skin tight suit and a fishbowl on his head, and being like, yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And they made him look so cool.
Well, first they used Jake Gyllenhaal, which was a 10 out of 10.
That was their first correct choice.
But yeah, and then they make his suit look so cool, and his powers are so cool as well. I mean, well, it was less powers and more or less just like illusions, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't real magic. It was just visual illusions.
Yeah, because I feel like if they did if they made him have real powers, they would have had to explain how he got them, and that could have gotten a little yikes and a little,
It was honestly.
I think it was a smart move.
It was very creative and original to make him just like, it's all visual effects.
Yeah.
But like literally.
Yeah. Like that scene in Far From Home when he is like, I don't even know what the word to use other than like absolutely tripping out, you know what I mean? When that scene when he's like, all this crazy stuff is happening and he's trying to figure out what's real. Like not at the it's like in the middle. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's in like the construction yard or something.
He has total control over him.
And Peter doesn't know what to do or where to go, and it's just wild. And I love the way that they took Mysterio in that movie.
So, yeah, for these two movies, I could say at the same time that they're watered down and basic, but they're also very original.
Yeah. Plus, they took another clown of a character like Vulture and made him look cool.
Michael Keaton was great.
For those who don't know, Vulture, in the comics, he was literally just a bald dude with another green skin tight suit, a big old white frilly scarf, and some bird wings. So funny. Okay. But
you put Keaton in an aviator jacket and he looks sick.
Yeah, you give Michael Keaton an aviator jacket and giant mechanical wings, and they look sweet.
Heck yeah!
And a cool like beaked bird mask.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It doesn't really have a beak, does it?
Yeah, it did.
It's like a mouthpiece, I guess.
Okay, well, it's probably meant to look like a beak.
Yeah, but all in all, I guess the most positive thing I have to say about the series is its originality and its new age creativity.
Yeah.
Compared to the being different from the source material, which I can appreciate.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're gonna end the movie segment by saying, favorite outfit, favorite movie, favorite actor portrayal.
Okay, you go first. I don't want to go first.
Yeah, like I said, I think I'll drop some hot takes.
Dude, no, I literally am about to drop the hottest takes. I don't even know, dude.
My favorite outfit is probably, I'm going to say I like the design and colors of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Uh-huh.
But there's just something about Tobey's suit and its texture and the webbing in it that I love.
Yeah, I agree.
So put those two together and I love it. My favorite movie overall, I mean, when we watched Spider-Man 2 the other day, it didn't wow me as much as I remember it being.
Yeah.
So,
or as some people say.
I appreciate the storytelling, but there's just too much cringe for me to say it's my favorite.
Yeah.
So I got to go with Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
And then favorite actor portrayal is so hard.
That's probably the hardest part.
I gave definite answers on the first two, but I don't know if I can do this.
Uh-huh.
What I'll do is I'll break down what I like about each of them and then maybe make a decision.
Yeah.
Tobey is the best Spider-Man.
Okay.
But not the best Peter Parker.
Okay.
Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker.
Okay.
But not the best Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then, although Andrew is so different, I feel like he really hones in both sides of the character.
Yes.
So, that's how I feel.
Okay. All right. So
I'm not saying that Andrew is hand down the best Spider-Man ever.
Yeah.
But each one of them have a quality that stands out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I hope I don't sound like the most biased person ever when I say this, but I mean I'm either gonna sound like these are probably the worst opinions you've ever heard, or maybe you'll agree with me. Okay.
Let's just
okay. One, I think without a doubt, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best suit. Okay. Okay. Obviously, like you said, I absolutely love. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the Tobey Maguire classic suit.
Mm-hmm.
The puff web, the whole look of it is absolutely classic. Okay, can't get enough of it. Okay, but for me, I just think the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was such a perfect blend of modern and original. Like I said, you have the new. It's more of an updated design with the same basic look as the Tobey, plus the bright white eyes and like the a little bit more updated, brighter colors. Because I feel like the red on Tobey's suit was a little bit more of like a duller red.
Yeah.
Where I feel like the Andrew Garfield one was a little bit of a brighter red.
That's probably the brightest suit that there's been.
And okay, hands down, my favorite suit.
Okay.
I love it. Can't
Agreeable.
get enough of it. Okay. Favorite movie? I have to agree. I like Spider-Man 2, but Amazing Spider-Man is gonna be my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So far we've got two similarities with mine. And then favorite portrayal. Now I'm gonna split it up like you did.
Okay.
But mine's different.
But do you have a definite answer? Or are you just gonna break it up?
We'll see.
Just lay it out.
So I'm gonna break it up. So I think, if you couldn't tell, there's some similarities here. I think that Andrew Garfield has the best Spider-Man.
Okay. All right.
Because I'm telling you, dude, I honestly think watching it again like a week ago really solidified it more for me. Okay?
I could tell while you were watching it, you were just having a ball.
Bro,
man.
I was literally having the time of my life watching this movie. I felt like a child, okay? I could be giddy, okay? I was so excited.
Giddy like a schoolgirl.
Like a schoolgirl. Okay, Elsa Schneider over there. Anyway, because seeing Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man literally makes me so happy, and I'm telling you, the swinging, bro. There's no thwipping. I love the thwipping.
Come on, Tom.
Dustin.
Where's your swinging?
There's no Tom doesn't thwip. Okay, I'm sorry.
He shoots.
He shoots. He doesn't thwip.
He doesn't thwip.
Okay, I love the thwipping in Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, the swinging, the action, everything is great.
I'm on board, man.
So I think Andrew is the best Spider-Man.
Cool. All right.
Now for Tobey, wait, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So for Tobey, while I do like Andrew also his portrayal of Peter, I think I will agree with you that Tom Holland probably has one of the better Peter Parkers.
And young Peter Parker.
Young Peter Parker. Yeah. Because obviously, even though honestly, even though all three actors are all portrayed to be Peter in high school, I mean, well, one, Tobey Maguire looked, he definitely looks, I think, too old to be in high school, obviously.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, I feel like was just on like the limit, like
he was more college kid level.
Well, like I can, like when we watched it, like I mean, especially when I was young as a kid, you know, and he was older than me, you know, I was in like middle school, but like obviously I can still see his portrayal as, you know, a young high school Peter, since all the other kids are, you know, they look similar, you know, high school, but especially now that I'm older and now that I'm out of high school, I kind of have a better gauge.
Right.
And I think that Tom Holland, although probably similar age to what Andrew did when he was played, I think he just does a better young adult high school Spider-Man.
Okay.
Plus, especially I felt like with the addition of like you know, his friends in the movies, I feel like really add to his performance and his character.
Yeah.
So plus I feel like, yeah, you know, his relationship with like Aunt May and, you know, some of the other characters, I feel like worked out really well.
Cool.
So my definitive, at least split up right now, is Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, while I still respect Tobey, and Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker. Now, I mean, granted, this could, my decisions probably are in a way swayed by my age and by, you know, when I saw these movies, you know, because they have, you know, things have an effect on you permanently, so that could be.
Yeah.
But
there's preference, but then there's just sometimes things just resonate with you for some reason.
And I think I just really resonate with Andrew Garfield, so I think he's the best of that, and I think Tom Holland is the best in the other aspect. I mean, I really don't know if I could pit, you know, one as
the
like
definitive,
the best in both areas, because I feel like realistically they all have their strengths and weaknesses. But yeah, that's probably what I would say for that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's best just to lay them all out and let them have their pros.
Yeah.
Even though we're probably going to clickbait this. Who's the best Spider-Man ever?
Who's the best Spider-Man? What? Tell us now. Okay.
How? We're not going to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, but I think those were some valid ways to describe that.
Yeah.
That's the movies, folks.
That's the movies, folks.
But there's still some other great storytelling to get into.
Some absolutely unbelievable storytelling.
Let's talk about
the Spider-Man PS4 game.
In the video games. Okay. Definitely not just one of the best. We haven't played the old Spider-Man games, so I don't know anything about them.
Tried to, but all the older ones are for like PS2, and like you can't really get those anymore.
Yeah. So. Disclaimer: this is really the only Spider-Man game that we've played fully. So.
I've played Lego Spider-Man and Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good.
Lego. Hey, you can thwip in that.
Yo, I mean, honestly, he does more thwipping than Tom. Oh, okay.
But yeah, not only is the PS4 game probably one of the best Spider-Man games, but one of the best PS4 games ever.
It is literally a top PlayStation game of all time.
Insomniac really knows what they're doing.
Insomniac is literally, they're a bunch of madmen, okay? They really came in here and were like, we're going to make a Spider-Man game. We're going to make it the best thing.
It is going to be the best.
It is going to be arguably one of the, like, a Spider-Man game that has story levels comparable to movies, okay?
Yeah. Now, here's a hot take for you. I think...
Yo, that Peter Parker? Is that what you're not talking about?
I think video games story portrayals are extremely underrated.
Unbelievably underrated.
If someone asks me what my favorite Spider-Man story is, I might say PS4 game.
Okay, because one, Peter is obviously and this is why, because they can craft these characters perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, as much as you try, you can't craft an actor to do something perfect because they're a person. They can't do it perfect. Whereas in the game,
you can craft your digital character as much as you want.
The Peter Parker they create, he is obviously he is the perfect Peter, and he is a great Spider-Man.
Literally take all three movie actors and combine them into one person.
Literally. Plus, I like the
remaster design. I'm not down for.
I don't dislike it, but what was wrong with the original? I know they probably wanted to look more like Tom Holland.
They made him look younger and made him look like Tom Holland.
But the original one was so good. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, and plus, a great Spider-Man. Plus, honestly, even though that game has Mary Jane in it, she's a better Mary Jane than the movie version.
For sure.
She's not a jerk the whole time to Peter.
She's likable.
And she has substance within the story, you know?
She gets stuff done.
She really does get stuff done.
And debatably, the relationship between Peter and Doc Ock is even more compelling.
My gosh. It's almost even better than Spider-Man 2, okay?
The ending sequence of that game is pure peakness.
It's literally heavy, okay? That's all. It's so deep and emotional, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's intense.
And also
the design for Doc Ock is great, you know?
I mean, I like the portrayal of the character, but I still like the movie design for Doc Ock.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it was a good design.
It's still a cool design.
Yeah, it's still a good design, you know?
So, debatably, one of the best non-comic stories of Spider-Man ever.
Plus, that one... See, and this is why I really think it's a combination of all three, because there is some seriously sad stuff that happens in that game. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I want to say it because that's still something newer.
And I'm also saying if you play games and you haven't played this, go ahead and play it.
Please go do so if you have a PlayStation. Please do. I don't want to say it, but there is a moment which doesn't happen in any of the movies, and it's so sad.
And there's no way they would do that.
There's no way they would do in the movie. It's so sad. So
yeah, the character development, the emotions, the story progression, the character designs.
Plus, the game itself is just a great game. The visually looks amazing. That is the best. Like, if you ever want to just have the most satisfying Spider-Man swinging experience, please play this game. The swinging and
the
combat
mechanics
in this game
are so well made.
Are so finely tuned. It is so fun to like. There were times when I would just swing around, not doing the story. I would just swing around New York City.
It's so fun.
You get to have all of New York City as your playing field. Mm-hmm. You're not just stuck in one little bit. No, you can swing wherever the heck you want in New York City. The whole city, okay? You can go anywhere you want. And it is just so fun to just swing around.
Yeah, so obviously all we have is to throw praise at this game, so
yeah. Thankfully, there was the announcement that they're making a second one to come out in 2023, which is still a while away, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah. You know, we played Miles, and that kept us satisfied.
Yes, I forgot about that, actually. That was also a very good game.
Very great.
Honestly, it was better than I expected, I think.
Yeah.
So
Visually is great. Combat it's still great.
I mean, honestly, they really haven't missed with a Miles story yet.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Verse, the game,
Mm-hmm.
they just don't miss with Miles Morales. They really don't.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show, and this is just for any story in this medium, animation and video game cinematics are really something that
They're underappreciated.
underappreciated and are really the top of its storytelling craft.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I know this is not Spider-Man related, but still, but for example, the Batman Arkham series,
Mm-hmm.
amazing story, underrated games, which are arguably on some of the same level as the movies, honestly.
I could say that maybe that's some of my best Batman portrayals right there.
Yeah, so, anyway, back to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess that's what there is about, there's other portrayals of Spider-Man in recent games. But,
Avengers, but that looked terrible, okay?
and I guess they're adding them to Fortnite too.
No, literally, I've seen so many videos that...
Somebody said that.
No.
Is it out yet?
Oh, no, yeah, it's already
Someone
out.
said it's actually fun, I think.
I haven't even played the Spider-Man version of Spider-Man in Fortnite, but I can tell you right now, from what I've seen, it looks so much better. The swinging at looks so much better than that in the Avengers game. The Avengers game looks like it. The Spider-Man in the Avengers game literally looks like it should have been on the PlayStation 2. The graphics for Spider-Man do not look good.
That's
the swinging looks so clunky and bad. Whereas literally Fortnite, a cartoon battle royale, has a better version of Spider-Man than the official Avengers game.
And that's why we're saying
That's the time we live in.
Insomniac really went out and created the definitive version that no one else could do.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that wraps up our video games brief discussion.
yep.
Obviously not as extensive as the movies, but because there's more fine material.
We just had to express the quality of the PS4 game.
Yes.
So, obviously, Spidey's, main area is within the comic world. I guess you can talk about either briefly for this little segment what maybe some Spidey comic series, stand out to you, or maybe some comic characters you want to see in another medium.
Yeah. All right. Let me tell you about my favorite Spider-Man comic series, okay? For those who don't know, and at this point I'd be surprised if you don't know, my absolutely favorite comic version of Spider-Man of all time is Spider-Man 2099, okay? And what that is that is a version of Spider-Man in the future, in the year 2099, but it's in a alternate reality. So it's, even though it's in the future, it's on a different timeline, because this version of Spider-Man is not Peter Parker. This version of Spider-Man is a character, and his name is Miguel O'Hara, or O'Hara, however you say it. And I actually, it is one of the very select few of physical comics that I actually collect.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a quite ever-growing collection of the 2099 Spider-Man comic series. I'm trying to collect them all because I love them so much.
It's just such a cool design for him.
Okay, I'm gonna be real. Besides, like I said, how the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is my favorite, or the Spider-Man PS4 suit, Spider-Man 2099 arguably is my favorite Spider-Man suit, like, ever to be existed.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, that shouldn't be surprising considering I literally paid a decent sum of money for one that I can wear myself.
Right.
If you haven't seen that, and you know me, just let me know and I can show you. So if you were to look up Spider-Man 2099 and see that, I literally have a suit that I can wear myself that looks like that. Because I think it is just the coolest version of the suit. Because, well, I mean, not just because it's futuristic, but it's almost like an inverted design. Spider-Man's suit in general, I feel like is the majority red with hints of blue, whereas this is the majority blue with hints of red. But unlike the original Spider-Man suit, it doesn't have the web design. It has this other. It basically has the spider symbol across like the whole suit.
Yeah, it is kind of like a whole like.
Yeah,
the design works itself across the whole body,
like the legs,
basically.
the chest, and the arm, and then on each side of the wrists, forearm area has these like protruding like red
what do you
like,
call those?
fins, I guess.
Yeah, not tentacles.
And not
fins.
spikes.
Yeah, there's a word for that.
I think it's
but
just
yeah.
fins. But I just think
Or tendrils. Is that what it is?
I have no idea. I'm just gonna say fins.
Fins
But
is
either
fine.
way, personally, that is my favorite version because I think it's a cool era, a cool character, a cool suit, and I love it. So, yeah.
I guess that's that.
Oh wait, and regarding I guess your original question, I honestly would love to see it live action. I don't think they'll ever do it, only because the public loves normal Spider-Man so much, and I understand that. I do too. But I think it would literally make my heart literally cry if I saw it in live action.
But animation is fine.
Animation is fine because we're getting that in Spider-Verse too.
Yeah.
I could not be more excited. I literally could not.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We can talk about
That's
that later.
that's basically my just comic Spider-Man opinion.
Yeah.
So I could gush, but I'll restrain myself.
Yeah, I guess personally I don't have as many strong comic character or comic series opinions. I guess there are maybe some characters that I've wanted to see come to life in other mediums from the comics. Like I've always, even though some of them are a little hokey, we see that they can be made cool within movies or animation. I would kind of, in some capacity, have wanted to see Craven the Hunter.
I honestly really hope they do that. That'd be very cool.
And supposedly Sony is like actively developing a movie for him.
Yeah, which should be interesting.
Which I'm like,
a whole movie just for him.
I was like, a movie just for him? Okay.
I feel like you'd almost rather just be better as like the villain for something.
Yeah,
but...
I keep wanting him to be like a villain in a movie, but
yeah.
So that'd be kind of cool. Like I said, I really wanted to see Black Cat.
Yeah.
And why not throw Silver Sable in there too?
Dude, another thing, her in the Spider-Man game, so cool.
Yeah.
So, and I think I also read a comic with her in it. So another underrated character, Silver Sable. She was cool.
There's so many like
Spider-Man really has a lot of villains that you can use.
Like there's so many villains and so many like side characters that are so cool, but only used in the comics.
Yeah.
Like in animation and stuff, like Spider-Gwen's cool. There's
which I'm glad we're getting in Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like her in that. Just so many other cool like Spider friends.
Like, and there's so many like the amount of versions of Spider-Man and like Spider-Gwen there are, like Gwenum. That's so cool.
Because it's
just Gwen Stacy, but I mean, it's Spider-Gwen but Venom. I think the suit just looks cool.
Oh yeah.
And
that's right.
Another suit that I think is cool is, do you remember the Future Foundation Spider-Man suit?
Is that the white one?
It's the all white Spider-Man suit with like the black. I think that one looks clean.
Yeah.
I like that one. There's a couple other ones. I think like the Scarlet Spider suit is cool. I think that's like the
oh right, yeah.
Do you remember which one? Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it looks like, but I just know that one looks pretty sick. There's honestly so many different cool variations of the Spider-Man suit, so.
Yeah. And even though, we have some great representation of Miles Morales in the video game and the animated movie, I think we should get a live action sometime.
Like I said earlier, they literally have not missed with a Miles story yet. All of them have been successful. Spider-Verse, amazing movie. Miles Morales game, amazing game. So why don't they take just both of those, and give us a live action portrayal?
Right.
I mean, it was teased with Donald Glover.
Because that was his uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I wish they kind of followed through on his character.
Me too.
But I guess it was just kind of a throwaway
Yeah,
joke.
because he could have been
the Prowler.
Oh, dude, that would have been so cool.
Prowler is so cool in the Miles game.
So cool.
Yeah.
Great design.
The whole story aspect behind Miles' character is actually really great.
Miles has a very good story, and his surrounding characters are very, very awesome.
Right. I guess since we're talking about Miles, this kind of...
There's no other perfect segue for Spider-Verse 2 than this.
Well, let's just segue into our Spider-Verse discussion.
Yeah.
And then also kind of is probably going to integrate with some No Way Home discussion.
Yeah. Obviously, we're still very far away from the movie.
Well, it's
It's October of next year.
so 10 months away.
I mean, that 10 months is a long time, but
Yeah, well, nowadays I'm used to waiting a long time for things.
yeah, I know, but still. So,
You were looking forward to most.
I am looking forward to most seeing 2099 Spider-Man in that movie, since they must be doing some sort of time loop, alternate dimension timeline. So and he's being voiced by Oscar Isaac, a great pick.
Could it have been better?
I am I'm unbelievably excited for that. So that'd be great.
So
Plus, Spider-Man in general, it's just a great series so far.
yeah, all in all, and like it's not only one of the best animated movies in a while, one of the coolest Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Realistically.
like realistically, even though it's barely even about Peter Parker, but
It doesn't need to be about Peter Parker to be the Spider-Man movie.
no, it does not. So yeah, really looking forward to that. I just love everything about that. The art style, the characters.
Yeah, me too.
It's really some top-notch stuff right there.
Uh-huh.
So, looking forward to that. And also, a way that I think that they could integrate live-action Miles, now that we're doing all this multiverse stuff in the movies.
There's no better time to do it.
There's no
than
better
now.
time than, hey, look, a portal opened and Miles just fell through it.
Here comes Miles, because I mean we already know who's gonna show up. So
there's, this kind of integrates our No Way Home previewing thoughts and predictions.
yeah. So what do you think is gonna happen, Justin?
Well-
Or what do you are you hoping hoping
Well,
for?
besides the expected things that people are talking about in the movie, some things that I personally want to see, or at least want to see in future adaptations. I really want to see Peter Parker team up with live-action Miles. I think, what's his name? The kid from Stranger Things.
His name was Lucas, and
That plays Lucas.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a cool Miles.
I could see that. Okay, interesting.
I don't remember what his name
I hadn't
is.
thought about that, but yeah.
I think I've seen fan casts about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just cast whoever you want, really.
Yeah.
If you yeah, he'd look really cool in live action.
Yeah.
Seeing the two of them team up.
Yeah.
Like, there's never been a live action Spider-Man team up movie
Yeah.
besides working with the Avengers.
Yeah.
So I want to see that, and I guess I'm basically like just listing live action Spider-Verse, but
Yeah. I mean, that would be cool.
like, yeah. Otherwise, else, I don't really have any other predictions for No Way Home, except I just want to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even. I feel like you can't even call it a prediction anymore, saying that Tobey and Andrew are gonna be in it, because everybody already kind of knows it's gonna happen.
even though there's no solid evidence.
Yeah, and honestly, you can't even call that a prediction anymore, because so many people just agree.
It's just a when and how is it going to happen.
Yeah, so I do think, obviously, I think I'm glad they brought Doc Ock back, and Green Goblin could be cool coming back too.
Yeah, and like I said, Electro looks really cool.
It literally is almost like they brought characters from each of the movies,
which
so.
is a cool idea.
Yeah.
What else was I
If
going
only
to
they
say
can bring
about
Gwen
it?
back. Tough.
Oh dang. The only thing that I to kind of harp on the Tom movies a little bit is, once again, I'm hoping in this movie, even though it's very much so a big threat, almost a team up movie.
Yeah.
I hope that they don't lean too much into Doctor Strange is here to help you because Spidey needs help to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Sure, Peter can't contain the multiverse by himself.
No, definitely
But
not.
let's hope they don't lean too much into the Doc Ock and Spidey save the day type thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, they say this is like a more.
Did I say Doc Ock? I meant Doctor Strange.
I knew what you meant. It's okay. Now I know they've said that this is a more serious, darker toned movie. So we'll see if they carry it out with it being a little more serious, and they can really pull through some of those story elements.
Yeah.
So,
like at this point, when we see the movie, I'm just looking forward to see how they handle it.
Yeah.
I don't have any other predictions or wants, or I just want to enjoy it for what it is.
Me
Everybody's blowing the rumors and predictions out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I am excited for this movie, I really am tired of like all the prediction. I mean, even though we're doing predictions right now, but like this person's gonna be in it, or this person's gonna be in it, and it's like it almost like takes some of the fun out of the movie. It's like I just want to see the movie, gather my own thoughts, and and enjoy it.
That's the thing. Like that's just a result of having an internet and social media presence. Is that so many people blow the hype out of proportion that it kind of takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
I'm still obviously looking forward to seeing the movie, but so many people like blow things out of proportion, and they're just like, let's just calm down and let the movie happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun to be excited about these things, but to what extent are we going to lose our mind over it?
And didn't it get to the point where people kept saying something was going to happen? Didn't Kevin Feige have to literally come out and tweet and be like, that is not happening? Didn't he say that? Or something?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that. I was almost sure I saw something that he had to like come out and be like, guys, this is not happening, because there were so many people that were sure it was happening.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a State of Marvel rant. But, like, I just gotta say, like,
lay it all out there, Justin.
Like, especially this year, fans who anticipate Marvel stuff kind of need to just take a chill pill and enjoy things when they come
and for what they are,
and not just thriving off of predictions.
Yeah.
Just let the movie come out and enjoy what comes, and if it doesn't meet your expectations, well, you had them too high or too low. Because
like, let's not trying to get on a rant, but like literally people have been over predicting and disappointing themselves since the very first project of the year, which was WandaVision.
Which is why some projects have been disappointing for people,
because everybody expects too much when they should just appreciate what we have.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's enough of our
still pretty interested and excited to see how the reveals in this movie go.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we see it, we'll definitely talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. So
you'll definitely get to know what we think of it, if you don't hear from us before then.
Right. So I guess a week from today of it releasing, the movie comes out.
Yep.
So everybody who's interested can go see it on that Friday or the weeks following.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would say that was a pretty comprehensive Spider-Man coverage,
right?
Yeah,
this is probably one of our, I wouldn't doubt it, I think this is our longest episode this season.
Well, granted, for such a topic.
Yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, because I certainly did. My throat feels dry because of the amount of talking we've done this episode.
I hope we made this informative, yet also enjoyable and controversial at the same time.
I mean, I if you couldn't tell, we've been talking for almost an hour and a half. I love talking about Spider-Man. Literally just one character.
We could go another.
We could go
double time.
Yeah, exactly. So, we hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know after what you think. What's your favorite Spider movie? What's your favorite suit? Do you have a favorite actor? Let us know.
Right. We really want to hear.
We really want to know. So let us know.
We really want to know.
We want to know if our takes were hot or if we're just trash.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks again for listening, and we will catch you guys in another episode.
With great power comes great wit.